What's up, rockers all across the world? It's 2024 when this dropped. Technically, when this is dropping, it's going to be on the first new year, but he's got some rock and roll that's been around for a while. But we're going to talk about shit kickers, rock and roll, Texas, Mr. Cody Jasper.
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
Dude, absolute
Howdy
pleasure.
from Texas.
It's like we mutually follow each other for a while, laughing at the same memes that we've been posting. Like I
How it
love
all starts.
the Trevor Wallace with the fucking Bass Pro Shops hat, and you're like, "Oh, I get so much pussy." I fucking died.
Yeah. Dude, those guys are all over Austin. I see them. They got like dress shoes on and a Bass Pro Shop shirt or hat. You're like, come on, bro.
Dude, I
Never
don't
fished
know
a day in your life.
I don't know what celebrity started wearing it for everyone just to start. I'm just gonna because now I see him out here in California and everyone's wearing a Bass Pro Shop. I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
dude.
I mean, I do got to admit, I almost got one on Amazon. I was like, these are cool.
But
Yeah.
he's been finishing up the year crazy freaking strong, fresh off a 10K performance with Miles Kennedy slash. That's huge, dude. That's right. Like, what a way to end the year.
I can't even believe, like, just hearing you say that, I'm like, I can't believe that really happened.
Like you keep posting the photos of it, you just see the crowd, and you're just like, fuck. I mean, damn, that's a banger to end.
You know what was craziest about that was I had to follow Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin experience. So, like, not only was like the crowd like just huge, but like, I mean, I think the last song they played was like Rock and Roll by Led Zeppelin. I mean, crushed it. And then they're like, okay, your turn, get up there. I'm like, just me and my acoustic. It was like, it was an amazing experience though. I never played for that many people before, man.
And
It
not
was
even a full
scary, but
band.
it was a dream.
Not even a full band, just
Huh?
an acoustic, man. Not even a full
No.
band.
Yeah. My managers are actually Stephanie Scamardo and Warren Haynes, and Stephanie's Warren's wife, and they do this Christmas jam every year. And every year, I mean, they had Dave Grohl one year. This year it was Slash, Miles Kennedy, Billy Gibbons, Jason Bonham. Just a knockout thing. And they were like, just come by yourself this year and just play acoustic, and you're gonna sit in. And they have this jam the night before, and I didn't get to sit in. So it was like a super bummer, move for me. And I was like, whatever. And I went and played during the day festival. And then like in the middle of my second set, I see my manager on his phone. Well, he's like Stephanie's assistant. I see him on his phone and he's like giving me a thumbs up. And well, let me backtrack here. He sent me the schedule of the main show so I knew like who to come see, because if I didn't want to stay there the whole time.
Yeah.
And in the schedule, we're talking about like an hour before doors. In the schedule, it's like 10 p.m. to 10:30 TBD, which means to be determined. And so like I screenshot it and circle it, like just joking around, like because we've been trying to get me on the show, and I just knew it was going to happen. And lo and behold, like
That
it's
you were the
he
TBD.
said, yeah, like he reached out, was like, what's going on here? And then so they were like, yeah, they got me on the show, and yeah, I ended up playing right in between Jason Bonham and Billy Gibbons. And then after Billy Gibbons, it was Slash and Miles Kennedy. And man, that show was insane. I was watching Billy Gibbons, Slash, Miles Kennedy, Warren Haynes play like Hunger Strike, Simple Man. They played Shook Me All Night Long. I was just like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Not only am I watching it, I freaking played that stage. But anyway,
Besides you just being obviously talented and deserving of the spot, it's always something I brought up. Where it's like that lucky experience where you got to take that chance where you see it, and that was the moment you needed to take.
yeah, and I had Warren Haynes told me a couple months ago. He said the answer is always no until you ask. So that was kind of like that's what it was for me. I asked and it came. So thank you, Warren Haynes, and thank you, Jason. Both Jasons at Hardhead.
But not only, I think you had you had the best. You had there's 10,000 new friends there, but you had one very special fan right there, watching right there with you, and that was your daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the first time she's gotten to see me play, and she wanted to get up there. She's not shy, man. She's been singing with me. Yeah, she was like my mom had to like keep a hold of her because she wanted to get up there and start singing. Her name's Nova, and so she sings Champagne Supernova like every day, and so it
It's
was
so
yeah,
funny.
having her there, yeah,
But
having her there was probably the coolest thing. And she also was working for me, man. Billy Gibbons loves her. Being backstage with this cute little kid, people come up and talk to you that probably wouldn't talk to you, unless you had that kid there. And Slash's wife and Miles Kennedy's wife, it's like I'm like, man, I should bring her around more often.
Well, it's funny.
Uh,
Do you think she's gonna start following in your footsteps? You think she's gonna start dabbling in that? She's already singing Nova, Champagne Nova Nova, you know?
yeah, she's already making songs, man. We got her little guitar, and like I don't push it on her,
Yeah.
and she loves to do it. And so like she'll just be writing her own songs at home. We got a song called Eat Barbecue and Go to the Park. So
That's
I think
great.
I think yeah, I think she's gonna take it up a notch. I hope so.
That sounds like your next EP, man. That's put your daughter on it.
That's a Texas girl song right there. Eat barbecue and go to the park.
Well, after even before all this, even before all that, you were still busy and you were just wrapping up a bunch of shows on the East Coast and you were doing with Moon City Masters, if that's correct, right?
Yeah, I did one show with them at Mercury Lounge, and it was like a showcase for my management put it together to bring a bunch of agents out and do the whole smooch thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was cool to play Mercury. I was like, and there was a lot of people there, which I don't have a crowd in New York. Moon City Masters thankfully does. And then also my manager brought a bunch of people out. But man, Moon City Masters is awesome. They are not an easy band to follow. I will say that. They're so good. Even greater guys too, man. They're just really good dudes, really funny and really talented.
Now, how did you feel coming out from Texas? Because you have that outlaw rock with soul, a little disco funk between it, and it meshes well with them as well. Because that's kind of like how they are. They have the more disco funk rock with them. But how did you feel
Mhm.
coming out, whole new area, new demographic of people and playing? How did you feel your style went with that?
I think it went well. I mean, we're mostly played the new record that I've been working on, which is pretty. It's a lot more rock. It's a lot more, but I mean, it still has some of that same. It still sounds like me, but so we were mostly playing that, which was kind of a bad idea because like no one can look up find these songs. We
Playing
just
new
get up there
songs
and like
versus
play the
songs you have
song.
already posted.
Yeah, yeah. Everybody's like, "What was this one song? When can I hear it?" It's like next year, maybe. I hope. So I mean, but it was. I love New York. I was there for a couple of days, and man, I fell in love with the place. I was like, I get it. I get why it was the hub for so many years of everything. But I mean, I had a blast just being able to play. The people that were there were pretty intense. My manager, Stephanie Scamardo, is just she's all business, man. She's a badass, and she brought some crazy cool people. I met this guy named Richard, who's now a good friend of mine, who's a big publicist, and just made some friends, a lot of friends there. And I got to rock out the Mercury Lounge. It was full of people, which is more than I can ask for.
Another great venue out there. I really loved. I felt same thing. I love New York more than I thought I would. Like I'm like, damn, this is so
Yeah,
much better than LA. And Mount
yeah.
Electric over in Manhattan. It's another.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, it's like a nice little underground freaking venue, and it's so cool. And they're so nice. Everyone,
yeah.
the promoter and book and everything. They're so great. They're great people. Everyone's friendly. I didn't meet a single rude person in New York.
That's the thing. I had this whole idea that everybody talks about New York like this or like that, and the whole time I was there, I was like, this place is cooler than Austin, Texas, or LA to me. Like I was like, I don't get where are all these rude people at? Like I mean, of course you had there some rude people, but it's like the New York rude is like they may cuss you out because you're in their way or something, but they're not going to fight you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's just
yeah.
like the way of life. Like, get the fuck out of the way. You know, it's kind of charming.
They'll
You know?
cuss you out and they're like, all right, you want to get beer?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I guess talking about,
Yeah.
'cause like you said, you played a bunch of new music at this show, but earlier this year, you released a brand new EP, Geronimo, dude.
Yep. Geronimo was I recorded it at Rio Grande Studios in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I'm originally from Amarillo, Texas, which is in
Okay.
between Oklahoma City and Albuquerque. It's in the middle of nowhere. I don't
Which
it's
they just started following me. They reached out and messaged me and they started following me. I'm like, they sound like cool dudes.
oh, Rio Grande?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Kenny. Yeah, Kenny, he's the man. Yeah, Kenny, we recorded with Kenny and just busted one out real quick. I was writing tons of music back then and then trying to figure out where to go with what, but yeah, I had fun with Kenny, man. We just did it the old school way. Kenny's old school rock and roll, man.
Yeah.
And
Heck yeah. And
yeah,
the album
so
artwork it gives you such a Bruce Springsteen's vibe with a southern twist on it, man. With the American
with
flag
also like a
around.
middle finger. It's like I'm
Yeah.
butt naked in front of the American flag.
Like, dude, that's a statement piece right there. That's great.
Yeah, I wish the record did better, but I mean, I was doing all independent. It didn't have any like PR or anything behind it. And I knew what was coming. So it was just like, I was going to put this out. So I have something to put out. And I liked the songs on it. I really liked Geronimo.
I mean,
Super fun to
Geronimo's still
play with
number one
live.
on Spotify right now on your top music play.
Yeah.
That's number one, and then a couple other ones too.
Yeah. It's thanks, man. It was a fun record to do. And yeah, fun to work with Kenny. I highly suggest it anybody going through Albuquerque.
The whole album, like especially when you kicked it off with Tijuana Taxi, this whole thing is great. This feels like a Sammy Hagar meets Hank Williams, freaking
Yeah.
EP, dude.
I love that.
Rock and roll and some country twang to it. Like it was, especially Tijuana Taxi. That's a fun like little like. All right, cool. I'm gonna put this on as I'm going to TJ.
Yeah. Thanks, man. Thank you. That song that song is about I wrote that tune about my granddad actually. He was a sprint car race car driver and until he wrecked really bad, but then he started building them, but he was kind of like a iconic guy in my hometown of Amarillo, which is not a very big town, but it's a big sprint car town. They have a dirt track out there and my granddad, his car was a Tijuana Taxi.
uh,
And and then my other granddad, I always hear stories of my dad telling me in Kentucky he was running moonshine and running Coors Original when they couldn't get it in Kentucky, and so I kind of like put two granddads in one and made it like a race car driving moonshine selling rock and roll song.
hell yeah.
But his actual car was called a Tijuana Taxi. So ever since I was like started writing music, I was like, man, that's just like it's got a good ring to it, you know. So
Now that
either
sounds
he's
like
selling cocaine or what, you know.
that sounds
Like,
like a
what
good
else you
album
bringing
title
from
now too.
Tijuana?
It sounds like an album you
Yeah,
named after it too.
yeah, yeah.
Well, even then, with that, obviously, like you said, that was a standout thing that you did, and you did it kind of independently. It's still freaking kick ass, and like I said,
Thank you.
it's southern rock, man. And that's like, I know that's what you said you wanted to do with the new album that you're going to be putting forth, and I think that's a good stepping stone, showcasing that that's what you're trying to dip into.
Yeah, it's just my roots, man. I come from Texas, and you know, I'm whether I like it or not, I got some country in me, you know. So kind of, it was just that's just where I was at the time, man. I was just listening to a lot of that stuff and writing a lot of that stuff, you know. So I appreciate it. Glad you liked it.
And, I mean, you actually have a bunch of catalog out. I mean, you got two albums, the EP, then a bunch of singles that they're just their own standalone singles, man. So it's like you have a whole catalog. You're freaking tour ready. You have everything set, man. And top of the new music that you're gonna be putting out.
Yeah, can't wait for this record. I'll send you some of it after this. I got a few songs back already, but it
Oh,
slaps.
all right, all right. I want to hear. If they're the masters. I am down with this, dude. Um,
Yeah.
Oh, so you went out to LA. I remember seeing you posting about it too. You were out here in LA, and you said you were doing it within the Muse studio where they recorded before. So what's going down with this new album that's tentatively to release?
So I got a record deal with Warren Haynes' label, Evil Teen, and a management record deal kind of thing. And so when they're like, "Here, we're gonna do a record. Here's your budget," I'm like, "Hey, we originally were gonna go with the Machine, which or not the Machine. He got mad at me for saying that. Machine, I guess. He did like Lamb of God and Clutch. He's done some iconic records, and so I was actually that was a bucket list producer to go with, anyways. But I heard Muse's new single. It had came out, and I'm a big Muse fan, by the way, but heard this single and I was like, I had this song called Dirty, and I was trying to get this like sub bass synth sound, but also like to keep it rock and not like it was just a trap song, just like this. I'm trying to get the sound that I didn't really ever hear yet. And Muse puts out the song, and I'm like, that's what I'm trying. I want that. What? How do they? You know? So I looked this guy up that produced the record, and come to find out he's produced, engineered with crazy amounts of people: Kanye, Coldplay, I mean Lady Gaga, Foster, whatever. His name's Alex Von Corp. He's a mastermind. But so I'm like, yeah, that ain't gonna happen. He's not gonna be in my budget for sure. It's still like an indie label budget to do a record. But I followed him on Instagram just for the time being, and he followed me back, and I was freaking out like, oh my god, maybe so I remember it was at South by Southwest last year, and I got home from South by, I smoked a big old bowl, and I was like, I looked at my girlfriend, and I'm like, I'm just gonna email him. I'm just gonna email him and see what's up, see what this guy says, and I hit him up, and then yeah, the next morning I woke up, he hit me back up, and he's like, yeah, I looked at some of your stuff, like this would be great. I'd love to do this, let's hop on the phone. So I was just like, holy shit, okay.
Damn.
I just step my game up. I mean, I'm working with, so yeah, we got talking, and it took a while to get everything going between the label and him, and he's busy working on, it's just crazy to talk to somebody on the phone, and they're like, oh, sorry, I got to finish this Muse, secret thing no one knows about yet. You're just like,
Nonchalant.
what?
Hey.
Yeah. So anyways, we were talking about where to do the record, and the most affordable option was to do it at Matt Bellamy's private studio in Santa Monica. So it was like another, just like, what is happening? Like, so we went to Santa Monica, made a record on all of Muse's stuff.
Damn.
I even used I even used that Chaos Pad guitar of his on a lot of songs. And yeah, I mean, it's just a dream come true being a big fan of theirs, and kind of like, wanting to go that route, like we were talking about earlier. I've kind of had this, just old school rock and roll vibes, but I'm trying to expand and I wanted to use technology, to my advantage, which I think Muse is very good at. They kind of, when they first came out, they were like, they still are, but it was just like, so it was cool to go in there and just like mess with all their stuff, and like just to be in there. Matt's one of my heroes, so just to be in there and to rock around with all their stuff is great. Alex is a mastermind to work with. Joe Davini, he was also an assistant of his. Great guitar player too. Scary guitar player, just like it was like, well, we'd be talking about stuff, and he'd be like, well, what about this? I'd be like, all right, why don't you track that, dude? Like, yeah, why don't you just play it? That was perfect. Okay. So, but yeah, it's a rock. It's hard, man. It's a heavy record. It's got like 3 songs on it that are, so basically, I'll tell you that the album name is Rock is Dead. And because when I decided to do this and I'm sending Alex songs, I had like 50 or 60 songs, and we were talking, and he's like, you kind of have like every era of rock and roll in this thing, he's like, you gotta, because a lot of times A&R people, it just feels real gimmicky to me. It's like, what do I want to be? Do I want to be this, or you got to be that? You got to pick a lane. And I'm like, I like it all. I can't just be like 90s rock. I can't just be a classic rock guy. I can't just be a blues rock guy. I can't be hard rock and not be able to play funk music. Because I mean, I like it all, dude. Music is like universal. It's not a gimmick. So it was kind of cool to pick Rock is Dead as the album title, because it's kind of like every song is kind of like my take on certain eras of rock music. We got the like a punk. We even have like a punk. Rock is Dead. The song is like a punk rock, like heavy hitter thrasher. I got, whatever. You'll hear it. I'm really excited for it to come out.
It's not because I know it's been a big thing for people to do concept albums, but it really does sound like this is a rock concept album, like an homage rock concept album, just to everything the generational, every generation, decade of rock style.
Yeah, yeah. And it's just, yeah, Rock is Dead. It's like sarcastic. It's just like you put it on and you're a rock fan, and it's gonna hit you in the face. It's got like this heavy shit, heavy. But it's the thing too, like, no offense to any bands out there at all, but like I miss rock. Like it seems like either I'm just judgmental, and I know a lot of people feel this way, but you get excited for something to come out, it comes out, and you're like, it's cool, but it's like they're still missing something. It feels like in the last like 10 years, man, it just feels like everything is, people are settling for something. It just feels so, I don't know. There's something, and not saying that I captured it, but I mean, that's what my goal was.
Yeah,
You know?
it kind of goes into a new way of what I guess that's a good transition. Of what I was going to kind of bring up is in this new age of rock where we're at, where everyone's trying to do a cookie cutter, I would say soulless music. They're just trying to make some kind of industry hit that doesn't
Yeah.
it just recycled, and it doesn't really attach itself. It doesn't leave that feeling like just that lingering, I guess, soulness that you want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, now you said that, I know I'm like free to talk about that. Like, yeah, just recycled everything. Stuff just comes out. It's just, you're just trying to do the pop thing, It's like you listen to
Yeah.
like you listen to the big radio shows or whatever, and I'm like, I can't tell the difference between like, what band is this again? It sounds like the other band, and it's like they all have the same plugins and they all have the same drum sounds, and
Yeah.
that's Alex. I was trying to work with Alex because I wanted to use all this modern stuff, and he was like, "No, we're not doing it." He wanted to use, anyways. The guy got some huge drum sounds without any plugins, without
That's
anything
so
like that.
sick.
And so I thought that's how you did it. I'm just like, oh, you got to have all this stuff. You got to be tech savvy to get those big, thick kick drums, And evidently not. Just got to get Alex Von Korf to do your record.
Well, it's fun then also to bring up on that. We're in this crazy future of musicianship and traveling and shows, and bands are decreasing their kit size, going Kempers,
Mhm.
like all impulse responses and stuff like that. What's your take? What's your feelings? And do you want to go easier traveling the road as plug and play, or do you still want to have a tube amp and just fucking bust out with the Marshall, man?
So this has been like a year long like thing for me. I've been like experiencing. I I got like an Apollo maybe a year ago or something, or not, right in the pandemic. I got like an Apollo Universal Audio, and my mind was blown. I was like, whoa, this sounds awesome. Like the Marshall I have on my computer, if I plug straight in, it's just like, sounds great to me. Like, I mean, and I'm a tone freak. Like Austin, Texas is like known for these people out here are super, they're kind of like connoisseurs of like vintage gear. Like it's
Yeah.
just kind of like the thing here. So I was kind of brought up in that tone world of like less is more kind of stuff. And I've always had a 60s Fender or something around. That's what been my amp. And I got this stuff, and it totally opened my eyes to like the new world of things. And then Alex at Muse's studio, I got to use the fractal that he like made. He like helped Matt do all of his fractal stuff, and
Yeah.
that stuff was great too. So I like it, but honestly, the guitar player that's been playing with me, Logan Nikolic, he actually plays in like Butterside and Diamante. He played with me the last few months, but he has like the like new rig Helix ish thing or whatever. He's got the whole thing. We don't need an amp.
Line Six has
And
been doing that stuff forever with all that stuff.
yeah, but him, even he was like, he was like, nah, man, like we compared it, you know, and like I think I'll always, now that the stuff is working like it is, I would fly to a gig with the pack if I got all that stuff. Like it works. And like most people can't tell, but I can always tell when I hear a band because you go, and that's the thing, it kind of feels sacrilegious to me because like if you're a rock band, like you need to be loud. I'm sorry. Like you
Yeah,
can't follow
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
rules. This is
yeah,
rock and roll, dude. What are you trying to follow the rules for? Fuck the sound guy. If he thinks you're too loud, like you're doing the job. You know, it's like, and also it feels like, you know, you go watch a band side stage and they have no stage volume. All it is the drums. You know what I mean? It just
yeah.
sounds weird. It's just like I miss the habit, but you know, it doesn't bother me, and I think it's great. And I like the way the new age is going, and I also have been like downsizing on gigs and and like throwing in bass tracks and like special effects stuff because it just helps the show, and the world is like broke, not just musicians, everybody's broke. It's like
I
hard to
mean, I
bring
agree with
10
that as
people.
well because it's like the band that I play for. I play with a pop punk band, and I play bass for it. And we use backing tracks, but it's again, it's for the
Yeah,
ambience. And how you,
yeah,
I, I hate to admit it, but I have made a pretty good bass sound because I have a Head Rush, their amp modeler, which is
yeah,
like built in, like literally, it's its own interface and stuff like that. And we go
yeah,
through the house, and it's great. And I do, but I still do love. It's like I've got a great tone. I know it's fake. People always say it's a great tone. Tell me it's a great tone. It sounds sick, but I do still miss it.
yeah.
Feeling of it behind you is what I.
Behind you, yeah. Move.
That's
You
what.
want your shirt to
Yes, I want to feel it. I want to
yeah,
hear it pushing
yeah,
behind me, man. That's the only
yeah,
thing. That's.
yeah,
But I plugged in last night my Mesa, and for a while, and it's just like there's still that gritty crunch behind it. That just like I don't know. You still can feel the difference. Hear and feel the difference.
yeah. Like I don't know what it is, but there's something there that you know. It's just like I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what it is, but if I have the option, I'm going amp. You know.
So when you're going with the full band, then you're just using. Are you going to straight digital then when you're playing?
No, I haven't made the switch yet. I've been trying. So that's what I was saying. Logan, he has a head rush and stuff, and I'm like, hey, what should I get? How should I do this? And he's just like, man, stick with what you got. Like it's cool because it's like, you know, he's a great guitar player, and I'll take his advice any day on anything. But he's just like, you know, I think he'd been playing in band I don't know. He just and also I just kind of like I had to spend time with it because like when I think about the pedals thing, like it's like wow, that's really convenient. You can
Yeah.
just like have your scene and you can do that. But also I'm like my brain just works that way. I'm like, all right, I want to have a plethora of options at any time. I want to be able to be like, I want to use a vibe pedal here, bam, or I want to
Yeah.
use this fuzz right here, and also there's just no one's going to convince me that you can make I mean the digital, that's the thing to me, to every, it sounds great, like there's no denying that this stuff works amazing, you know what I
Yeah.
mean, but to me as a player I want the analog, you know, which just because I just feel like, you know, I don't know, I like, and also I spent so much money over the years on vintage pedals. I'm not gonna about to hang those things up for no reason, you know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So as we were talking, same thing with the future of everything in the digital age, and I mean like Ronnie Radke canceled a whole freaking show, two couple shows actually, because they lost for falling reverse. They lost their computer to play
Mhm.
any shows, man. So I'm like, to an
Yeah.
extent, and I still love being able to tap, touch on the ground. I want to change pedals. I want to, it shouldn't take away from the showmanship of the show.
Yeah. Which a lot of people it doesn't either. I don't want anybody to think that I'm like against it because
Yeah.
I'm for it. I'm all for like I'm lazy. So like I'm like, you know,
Even John
because
Petrucci, everything's digital for him. Like it automatically,
yeah.
they have a drop pedal built in, a computer sync to do everything he needs to do and add stuff. And it's
Yeah, but see
great.
that also costs so much, you know. So me, I'm just like, yeah, when I get there, yeah, you bet your ass I'm just gonna have, I could fly with everything, but you know,
Well, it's good
And
to
the
ask
Ronnie
you.
Radke thing too. It's like I get that too, man. I've been there. I've been in a band before that was like basically all track. We called it a rolling karaoke machine. I'm not going to say who they are, but I mean, and if we didn't have that, if we didn't have our rig, dude, we would have been screwed. There was one show we played in, and that was the thing. I was just the singer of the band. I wasn't, but I remember the tracks weren't working, and it was like the first show on tour. We were opening for Elita's Way, and it was a big old crowd, and they like, we're stalling, and the stage crew's like, "Come on, you got to go, you're late." And our sound guys like running all over the place trying to figure out reboot the computer. And I'm looking at my band, and I'm like, we can't just get up there and play music like a band. Like we can't just go up there. There's like several songs that we don't need no one's gonna notice. No one knows who we are anyways. If we don't have all the background vocals, no one's gonna know. Let's
Yeah,
just go up
yeah,
there
yeah,
and
yeah,
rock out, dude. And
yeah.
but they insisted, and that's why I'm not in that band anymore, pretty much.
I think I know what band
Just
you're
stuff
talking
like that.
about. We won't bring up the name, but I think I know what you're talking
Yeah, yeah,
about.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, man. And what about for on guitar wise? What about active versus passive pickups and all that fun stuff?
Well, I'm an easy guitar guy. I'm a Les Paul. Now I recently became a Les Paul guy. I was always a Strat guy, being from
Uh,
Texas. Steve Ray Vaughan was my hero type crap. But I grew out of that, thankfully, and now I just like Les Pauls and humbuckers because everything else feels less big. It just sounds like really. But
fatness.
I love just Les Pauls and vintage tube amps, vintage Marshalls. I mean, I like new stuff too, but at the pick, my favorite amp, I got a Marshall Plexi and I got a 65 Super Reverb, and those are probably I A/B those together, get my delay panning back and forth. So like
Yeah.
the Marshall has one, and it's like, that's another thing. There's stuff like that which makes me be like, I'm not ready to switch yet. And so I love tube amps. I love just loud. I'm loud as shit, man. I've always been, and I'm probably always going to be. But I love to shake the room, and yeah, Gibson Les Paul, man. Stratocaster. I love Flying V's. I'm a Flying V fanatic, but I don't have one lately. I sold my last one, and all the ones I want are too expensive. So, but yeah, I'm not picky either. I love any guitar. I like crappy old ones. I like those old K's and Silvertones, and I'm actually starting to get into like the metal, old '80s metal looking ones.
Dude,
And it's not because John Mayer either. I want to put that out there.
yeah,
He started playing like that pink one, and
yeah,
and
yeah.
I see all these people playing those now, and that's not why. I just kind of like,
I hopped
it's
on
just kind
one
of,
that like, I saw on Facebook Marketplace, and it's on my wall. It's a 1982 Aria Explorer, Aria 2
oh
Permanent
yeah,
Explorer. It's old as
yeah,
fuck, and this guy was selling
yeah,
it for $300 on Facebook Marketplace, and I'm like, I want to take that. That's some like
yeah,
that's some history right there, man.
yeah. Got the mojo. Played, probably played a bunch of shows and stuff. That looks cool.
But yeah, like it's like now you're seeing some of these classic silver tones and stuff like that. They're freaking going up for like some of them. I've seen a couple for a grand now.
Dude, it makes me sick sometimes when I get on reverb.com and I see stuff that I've had. Like I used to have a bunch of 808s, like 1980s TS 808s, Ivan Tube Screamers. And I think the last one I sold was for like $250 to a friend, and they're thousands of dollars. I've had Klons.
Yeah,
I had a gold Centaur back in the day that maybe I bought for like $700, something, which I thought was outrageous then. Now,
2-3 grand
it's
for a fucking
yeah,
clone.
yeah. And you know what, dude? I'll tell you, I had two of those on my board at one time. I had a silver one and a gold one. And I'll tell you right now, the Jane J Archer pedal is what it is. Have you heard about those?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They're like the guy worked for the Klon guy,
Yeah, he
and
started.
apparently,
Yeah,
yeah, apparently because he's an asshole. I guess the Klon guy was an asshole and like screwed him out of money. So he basically made the Klon exactly how Homeboy made the Klon, and he sells them for $150. Still to this day, they're only $150. And
Yeah,
I'll swear by those things.
I forgot who
Those
did
are
a
the
comparison
shit.
video. One of the YouTube guitar guys did a whole comparison video too. I forgot who it was. They did like actual Claude and the guy who
Yeah.
had the Claudes, and then they put them the
Yeah.
comparison. And it's like, you see a difference? I don't.
And that's the thing too, though. Those pedals, like, I don't think they sound good unless you got an amp on like 6. Like if if I play like a little Princeton, or I'm playing like a quiet thing, or I'm at home, they do not sound good.
I
They're
do
because I
notice the
guess
difference between a solid state and a tube too, as well, if you're going to use it.
yeah, yeah. They only sound good when it's like, because I guess what it really does is if you keep the gain low and the level high, it basically just takes your amp and just supercharges it. So you're just still getting the amp overdrive, but like another level of it. So, but I'm a fuzz guy, man. I love fuzz pedals. I play fuzz maybe too much, but I'm a
This is the fun
huge
part
fuzz
of
guy.
going the analog way, because like the digital, yeah, it's great, it's fun, and I can dial in something cool, but then when you really get into it and going analog, and you putting in the mix and matching and the combination, and then talking about how you rig things, how you patch things, what's your signal chain, that's just like, I don't know, that's like a different fun thing to do.
Yeah, we're just nerds, dude. Like, is it necessary? No, but it's kind of our life. It's just kind of, it's just like we would have nothing to talk about. Oh, did you get this plug in? Yeah, sure, it's cool, great, right? Yeah, no, it's like, no, let's nerd out on all this shit. Yeah,
Well,
that's what I love it. Though.
as it's 2024, as it's dropped, and what is the timeline? Are you gonna do a new single first for the release of this new album? Maybe a couple singles, or are you just gonna do? It's gonna be an album drop. You're just gonna be old school. Fuck it, here it is, guys.
I actually have no idea what we're doing. So all I know is this is my first time to work with the label, so I'm realizing that, like, I mean, I have a lot of say in it, but they are going they're talking to other labels, to bigger labels, about picking up the record. That's all really I know. And so, but I know it's going to come out. I know that we were like had a handshake deal, because I was like, I want this record to come out as soon as possible, like by March at least the first song, because I've already got another record on deck. Like I'm already working on another one. So it's like, I don't want this record to come out and be so old to me.
Yeah,
It's like, I
yeah.
still want to be in love with it. But so it should be, I mean, it's this year because it's 2024, but it should be soon. It's coming out soon.
Well,
Yeah.
glad to know we know the title. Rock is dead. I not, but killer name. I'm sure the artwork's gonna be sick to match it. You've been pretty on point with your album artwork so far. Like I said, for the whole Geronimo EP, Clutch, that was great. And, like,
Thank you.
the Disco Lemonade. That's it.
Yeah.
You're on point for the album artwork. So I know this one's gonna be fucking killer too.
Thank you.
That is a thing. It makes a big difference. Never judge a book by a cover, but like, sometimes I'm looking at some of these band artworks. I'm just like, eh.
Yeah, where's all, yeah, it's just kind of the same thing that we were talking about earlier, man. They're just really just trying to get something out there. But I always say, like, I don't drink anymore, but when I did drink, and I ate a lot. But when I did, I didn't drink wine. I wasn't a wine guy, but I would thoroughly like scan the wine rack, and it was the coolest logo is the one I got. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the same thing with an album cover. And I remember being a kid, I got this guy who I was still a big fan of him. He's not a rock guy or anything. He's like a jazzy guy, but his name was Sondre Lurquet. I think that's how you say it. And I found his record just because he looked awesome. And I've been a lifelong fan since I was like 13. No idea who he was, but the record cover was awesome. And it was, Mom, I got to have this.
Dude, it's the same thing. How I remember freaking finding Avenged Sevenfold, that freaking like Hot Topic or something, and seeing the artwork.
Yeah.
Like, that looks sick as fuck. I want to check this.
Yeah, I have to have this. Yeah. Same with System of a Downs. What record was it that it just looked like a burnt CD?
Oh, Steal This or something like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
steal this like that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You gotta have everything. I think that's another thing people are losing touch with right now, with this trying to, like, they're trying to push out so much music and trying to just like do it. They're not doing the whole package, you know, the whole thing. That's
Yeah.
everything about the music, from the lyrics to the music, songwriting to the look to the feel, everything. Your image, it's the whole package. You're not just presenting the
Yeah. I
music,
mean, you gotta,
everything.
he's gotta, yeah. I feel like I always hear people say like everything's like a pendulum. Like the '60s, it got so bad and so poppy, people went the opposite direction. And like in the '90s, they were so sick of the '80s that people went from fashion and super glam, glitz to glam to grungy. They just feel like a pendulum shift is coming where it's just getting so out of hand that like the new cool thing is going to be, you know, authentic as you can get again, which I'm
Yeah,
really excited for.
that's what
Because
I
I
think
think
as
it's
well.
time. Yeah, a lot of the people that have been putting in the hard work and you know the underdogs. I think it's kind of like, you know, I don't know. I think the younger generation is that way. The younger generation is not buying our shit. You know, they're not buying the younger ones. I think they're going to be like kind of like the '90s were. Or they're going to be like, fuck all that stupid shit. Like, let's just play rock and roll and let's just
Yeah.
like good music. Yeah,
Yeah, man. And I think there's been such a great new swing of rock and roll music, of stuff happening.
yeah,
Like Bones Owens has been blowing up lately, and then Dust Coder, some great dudes out in England. They're English rock and roll, and they're great. Another one's Florence Black, Blacktop Mojo. They've been fucking
yeah. Blacktop Mojo. I love those guys. Have you heard of Plague Vendor?
yeah. He popped up on a playlist of mine. I'm like, dude,
See, I saw a video of them on Instagram and like I'm a huge fan. I didn't even have the audio on and I saw the singer like just and I'm like, wow, like I was so mind blown to see like I was like, that's a real fucking frontman. That's like another you don't see guys act like that anymore, you know? It was just like you got me so pumped. And I'm a huge fan of their music is awesome too, but that guy is a fucking frontman, dude. It's like you don't see that much anymore. The Scott Stapp, like badass fucking attitude, like you know, you're like, this guy is like super cool looking, but he also might kick my ass. But he also, you know what I'm saying? It's just like the Axl Rose kind of vibes.
yeah,
Just
man.
everybody's been too fucking nice, man.
Or
It's because they ain't got amps on stage. They're worried. No, I'm kidding.
yeah. Or even the big name
They're
right now.
cooking the amps on.
I was gonna say, I remember when this guy was just a YouTube player. No one ever heard of this fucking guy. He was just a
Yeah,
Marine playing some freaking, back then I would say it was folk songwriter stuff.
yeah.
Mr. Zach Bryan, and how he's blown
Wow.
up like crazy in the last fucking
Yeah.
5 years, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, because he's legit. You know,
The dude
it's
got pulled
fucking.
over. I remember reading an article. He got pulled over by the cops. I'm like, I got a ticket, and he was just
Yeah.
like fuck it.
Yeah. Didn't he do his first record on his iPhone or some shit like that?
Yeah, man, the whole stuff. I saw him on YouTube by accident. This dude just playing, and no one knew about him. And now, like I said, 5 years later, he's blown up and fucking selling out SoFi Stadium and shit.
Yeah, and he started out his first record was on an iPhone. Like, don't need all that crazy shit. You just need good songs.
Yep. And I think he's
Yeah,
a good. He's a good. I think that's a good. Even though he's a younger dude, but I think he's a nice positive beacon of just like, dude, grinding it out, put out fucking real music.
yep, yep.
So, which is what's
Agreed.
your caveat right there? You had your light torch moment when you played for that whole Christmas bash, and that's kind of like your and what you said you've been doing for this music album. Everything sounded like it's gonna be fucking just great fucking rock and roll, man.
I can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Well,
Dude, Billy Gibbons. Anyway, sorry. That guy's the man. There's nobody's cooler than that dude. I was just thinking about watching that guy live. Like, wow. Still got it.
well, dude, I'm stoked to hear it. And whenever the single and everything pops up, of course, I'm gonna bump it, put it on there. I'm gonna have the links for everything else, music wise, and your new EP, because that's still number one on your thing. And I've added that to my bangers of the year playlist that I post on the last week of the year.
Thank
Pretty
you.
much everything on there for new music and stuff like that. So, dude, it was an absolute pleasure to official meet you. It was just as chill
Likewise.
as I thought it would be. And we look forward to seeing what else is coming up for the year for you, man. And we're gonna keep the ears up and the horns up, brother.
Thank you, man. Thank you for having me.